Check this one out. This is from mid-January 2022. He's talking about the election.
Everything you're going to see over these next 7 months to get rid of the machines. You're going to see the Supreme Court case coming out. All these great things, everybody. By the way, you can find more at frankspeech.com. I'll put.
Did he say 7 months? Over the next 7 months? I'm sorry. This is January 2022. So did something happen in August 20? No, nothing. Nothing happened. Okay, he's just completely full of awesome.
Put that out there. There are so many. I'm more optimistic today than I have been yesterday, the day before that. I'm on an incline like this. Why? Because
of all the meth?
It's so amazing. All the things that we have. We already have all the pieces of the puzzle. And you talk about evidence. We had enough evidence to put everybody in prison for life, 300 and some million people.
That's quite a feat, considering there are 325 million people in the country, including toddlers and infants. So, wow, 300-something million people cheated in the election? And you have evidence of this? Okay.
We had that all the way back to November, December. But what we have are these other things that had to happen, which was all evil revealing itself. I mean, evil's popping up like pocket gophers. I mean, they pop their heads up, it's whack-a-mole, right? I mean, it's everywhere. And that all had to be revealed so that we can fix it.
What is wrong with this guy? There is something going on here. Is it just me? What is going on in his head? I have so many examples of this guy. Like, I think he's a true believer. I don't say this lightly, but like every clip that I have of him, he exudes true believer to me. Like, why would he be doing all of this? He released a movie, quote unquote, a documentary or whatever, called Absolute Proof. I covered the whole thing on my Owen Morgan Unfiltered YouTube channel. It was absolute nonsense. All of it is just nuts. But why would he make something like that? All of these months later, years later even, he's still talking about it today. Why would he do that if he didn't believe it? Like, I don't know. Like, I think Donald Trump knows he's lying, and he's still talking about it. So there's that. But I don't know. Mike Lindell strikes me as somebody who believes it. Tell me in the comments, is he someone who believes this nonsense after all these years? Sadly, for Mike Lindell, after that video came out, he was debanked. This one is mid-January 2022.
They want us to leave their bank. What you're going to hear on these recordings are
wicked mustache, right?
Horrific. Because now that you have, it's manifested from this, Steve. They're bringing back a year ago, and all these terrible outlets like the Washington Post, and I just had a call from the Guardian today, and then you have the Daily Beast. All of these outlets now are attacking me, re-attacking me again, trying to say I'm some kind of a let's subpoena Mike Lindell's records. As you know, I went after Pelosi and that fake committee they got going to scare everybody.
Wait, the fake what? What did he just say?
Fake committee they got going.
A fake committee, the January 6th committee. I remember. Okay, yeah. And it's supposed to scare everybody. Okay. I wasn't scared by it. Who's it scaring? I mean, I wasn't at the Capitol on January 6th. I didn't lead an insurrection against the U.S. government. I didn't carry a Confederate battle flag through the halls of Congress. Maybe that's why I'm not scared of the January 6th committee. Just tossing it out there. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let me get a little more specific from Mike Lindell. I didn't organize parts of the riot, parts of the insurrection, or fly certain influential people in on my private jet. So I'm not living in fear of the January 6th committee or anything else. I don't expect the FBI to knock down my door and drag me away in handcuffs for insurrecting on the U.S. government. I don't know who he thinks this is scaring, but it's not everybody. It's only a very specific select group of people.
Committee they got going to scare everybody. And by doing this, now these banks want to get part of the cancel culture. They want to cancel out all of these entities. The biggest one they worry about, Frank Speech, everybody.
Yeah, because banks don't like having money in accounts. So they love canceling people because the less money that they have in their accounts, the better it is for them, of course, right? And they're just like, they love cancel culture. It's just like tops for them, totally.
They want to silence Frank's speech. They want to silence my voice. Lindell TV, there's 9 entities on there. Steve, they called me. When they called my controller, I couldn't believe it.
What does he mean by entities? 9 entities on Frank's speech? Is that his social media network? It was supposed to be a social media network, but it turned into a kind of a news type of thing. He writes, well, he doesn't, but he has people writing blog posts and releasing videos. I think maybe Steve Bannon and Roger Stone, they might have been on his Frank Speech thing. Oh my God, this guy. Is it Frank Speech TV? No. Yeah, it is. frankspeech.com. See here. Okay, so he's got like some stuff along the top. Elections, politics, economics, religion, education. What's this? Ooh boy, this is risky. Playing something that I have not like listened to ahead of time on a live stream, and it's something from Mike Lindell. This is a big risk.
It looks like we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not someone that has the Frank Speech app download it.
This is a live stream, I guess.
Now, because it's the fastest growing conservative free speech app in the world. A lot of our...
Is it like all ads? Like what the hell is happening? Oh yeah, Lou Dobbs. I remember Lou Dobbs. He was fired from Fox News or Fox Business, wasn't he? And the guy on the right, is this the leader of the Black Robe Regiment? I'm not sure. Oh my God.
Wrote a letter.
You know, I appreciate that they mute it automatically, but it's kind of annoying.
Proposing the creation of an open division for trans-identified athletes. But that was enough to get him fired from the high school. John Parks with us tonight to tell his side of the story. And John, great to have you with us. I have to say, by every metric I can think of, you've gotten a really raw deal from your high school.
Every metric he can think of, he got a raw deal. Okay.
Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I'd appreciate it if you watched to the end of the video, or at least a couple extra seconds, because YouTube bases its algorithm off of watch time. The more watch time a video has, the further the video will go. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion, and the history of the religion generally. The 100 questions are intended to challenge a religious leader, so I'd appreciate it if you give it a read. Okay, back to the video.
I don't understand it. You didn't insult anybody. You were straightforward.
And we know this is just a nonpartisan, honest actor who just wants to, he's looking out for the best interests of everybody. And you know how we know that? Because he's on the far-right TV network, Frank Speech, speaking to the far-right nutcase, Lou Dobbs. That's how you know he's super honest and independent and nonpartisan.
6 in the nation, and I knew she was going to get challenged, so I wrote a letter and I just said we need to change this rule. I'm not trying to advocate for transgender athletes not having any competitive opportunities, but you can't allow them to just race evenly with women.
I mean, this is just all the same nonsense that the right pushes 24/7. Anyway, that's Frank's speech. This guy is just... How did he get all of his money? Is pillow salesman really such a lucrative business? I'm in the wrong industry, man. I should be a pillow salesman. I need to invent new pillow technology. I'm not even joking when I say that. He really says that. Here's a good one. When everybody who's going to buy your pillow has already purchased your pillow, your slippers, your towels, your little trivets, and your hot pads, and your everythings, this is what you got to come out here and do next.
And you can hear the media now. Mike Lindell just changes his pillow to make more money. No, we changed it because we didn't have the technology back then, so we enhanced it. If I was just going to put a different color on it,
enhanced pillow technology. Oh, I love everything about it. This is so funny.
I wouldn't do it. This actually adds technology that helps people sleep. And I would think that anybody that has a product where you can improve it, where it actually manifests as something that helps people.
You know what, Mike? I have a message for you.
Now you're an asshole. You got that? You're an asshole, is what you are.
Mike,
no,
sorry.
he's an asshole.
No,
he's an ambulance chasing asshole. That's what you are. Lumpy pillows, kiss my ass. Put that in your book.
I love it, man. Mike Lindell is like an endless supply of hilarious content. Like, I could listen to this clip every day for like the rest of my life and just eat this up. It's so funny. What is like going on in his head? Is there anything knocking around up there at all? Anyway, I wanted to talk about Lindell originally because a caller mentioned him. I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at some of his stuff. I do want to listen to voicemails at people talking about Lindell and Greg Locke and some other famous nutcases. My number is 1-800-701-8573. I had a problem with my system, but it's resolved now. It was giving like a fast busy signal, but you can call in now. Sorry about that. I get regular callers that call in sometimes, and they don't want me to like play their stuff because they don't like the sound of their voice. But I listen to their voicemails, so hopefully, like Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois, is that the one? I hope he like starts calling in again. Sorry, Guy, if you see this. Anyway, let's listen to the first voicemail here.
Hey, Owen, this is Paul in Louisiana. I'm listening to one of your videos, Gray Lock. Let me tell you, this Constitution was formed by our forefathers because, separation of church and state. That reason was because the Pope Catholic Church got so much power that Galileo, our famous astronomer, had said the sun revolved around the earth instead of vice versa. And he was almost crucified and he was sent to prison. So that's the one point I wanted to make. The other point is I'd rather sleep on a cement block than one of his pillows. Okay, that's my message. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Now you're an hole. You got that? You're an hole. Is what you are. No, he's an hole.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for the voicemail. That's interesting. Yeah, separation of church and state is interesting to me because the United States is basically the first and the biggest test of having a secular government. And it's super successful. Really, really successful. The goal is to have a country where everybody can live, regardless of race or gender or nationality or anything at all, religion or whatever. We want to have a country for everybody. And it worked. It was really good. But Christian nationalists are trying to tear it down now, unfortunately. We just got to fight against it for real. We have to fight this. Their win is not guaranteed. Honestly, they're not going to succeed in turning the country into a Christian nationalist state. And the reason they're not going to succeed in doing that is because you and I and everybody else who's to the left of hunting the homeless for sport don't support that. We're going to fight against it every single day if that's what it takes. Anyway, thanks for the voicemail. I appreciate that.
Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I just want to say I'd appreciate it if you check my Patreon. owenmorgan.com/Patreon to find it. YouTube's algorithm goes up and down, so I can never predict where it's going to be. Having patrons gives me some level of stability. Okay, back to the video.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois.
Yeah, thank you for the voicemail, Guy. I'm sorry. Hopefully you call back in. I don't, my whole system was messed up.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois. Just caught a YouTube clip with Jen from the Young Turks. Its title was Trump Hurt by the Felony Conviction. And in there, he says that so some Republicans say they're more likely to vote for Trump because he's convicted. Those are people just yanking our chain to think, oh, boy, I'm so sorry they convicted Trump because now the Republicans are really mad. Come on. And then there's this thing that in the independents, 17% of more independents say they're more likely to vote for Trump. These people are not independents. They're Republicans. They try to hide behind it. Oh, I'm an independent to make it look like they're not going to vote for a criminal. Oops, they are going to vote for a criminal. R.I.P. GOP 2023. This marks the grave right here. Come on. Bring the grave marker right over here.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned donations and stuff, and funding, and the felony, support for felonies and stuff. Here are my thoughts on the subject. You can usually gauge a candidate's popularity by their publicly announced funding, basically. So there are a lot of laws about public funding, about people donating to a political campaign, you can't just donate whatever you want. Can't donate $10 million to a political campaign. You have to donate it to a super PAC, which is an organization that has a ton of money, and it's a private entity, and independently creates ads and memes and whatever for a candidate, on a candidate's behalf. But they have no connection to the candidate. They've never talked to the guy before. That way, they can completely bypass all of the funding requirements. However, candidates do still need funding, and they ask for that funding. They want to have the money in their wallet so that they can create ads for themselves. So we can look at candidates' publicly reported funding, because I think the limit is like $10,000, or no, it's $5,000 or something like that. Individual people can't donate millions. They can only donate like 4 figures, to my knowledge. So looking at public funding is a really good gauge for enthusiasm, at the very least, if not public support. So we want to look at like Donald Trump's fundraising numbers as opposed to Joe Biden's fundraising numbers. And Joe Biden has consistently been out fundraising Trump this whole time. When Trump got convicted, like, I don't think we know yet exactly what he brought in, but I imagine he probably got some support, some extra support from people. They probably sent in more money. Trump says it was like, so Trump got like $30 million one month, Biden got $50 million, and it's kind of been on that path that whole time, you know. Trump says he got $400 million in like 3 days. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to report it to the FCC. Is that it? Is that who it is? Or the FEC? You're going to have to report it. And when I get this publicly reported number, then I'll believe it. Anyway, Biden has consistently been out fundraising Trump. That's why I think there's a lot more enthusiasm for Biden, or a lot less enthusiasm for Trump at the very least. People are going to be voting against him, in my opinion. You know, these votes swing based on 100,000 votes across 5 states a lot of the time. If we can pull over enough Republicans who see what Trump is doing and recognize it as treasonous and want nothing to do with it, we can pull over just a few of those guys, honest Republicans who aren't out of their head on Jesus juice and MAGA juice, I think that we have a really good chance of winning. And oh boy, do I hope we win, because I don't know what's going to happen to me as a political commentator oppositional to Trump in the next Trump presidency. Yeah, it's the FEC, I guess, my mistake. Anyway, yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's just like, I think Biden's going to win. It's super disturbing, though, the whole thing. Trump shouldn't be getting any funding, like zero. Nobody should be funding a traitor like this.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Owen.
He calls in all the time, too. I hope I didn't lose. I hope you start calling in again.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Owen. Excuse me. This is Ron from Tennessee. I was wondering about with the rise of the Christian nationalism and everything. Do you think it's going to water down, or do you think it's going to get worse? I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I really like your opinion on it. And thank you so much. You are so awesome. And please take care of yourself and your family. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, appreciate that. Can do, buckaroo. Now, about Christian nationalism. I think that Christianity is on a decline right now, a dramatic decline. The evangelical voting bloc, which is who I think of when I think Christian nationalists, is about 15% of, is it the party or the country? Let's see. Let me just find out real quick. I'm just now realizing that it's BLOC rather than BLOCK. What does BLOC mean? Getting off on a rabbit hole here. A combination of countries, parties, or groups sharing a common purpose. BLOC. Okay. That's interesting, like an alliance. There's U.S. News. I think U.S. News is okay, isn't it? Is this trustworthy? Yeah. High factual reporting, left of center, almost to least biased. All right. I feel comfortable trusting U.S. News and World Report for the moment, tentatively. I usually want to turn to Reuters or AP News or BBC America, Independent. Those are good, pretty trustworthy. But we'll check this one. Assessing the precise role of evangelicals in elections is not easy, a new study by 2 sociologists shows, because analysts and pollsters use quite different definitions to identify these voters and their movement. I wish it would name the sociologists. Those are weasel words. Maybe they cited it at the bottom. Noting that claims about the size and characteristics of American evangelicals are often inconsistent, even contradictory. Michael Lindell, a professor at Rice University, and Conrad Hackett, a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Texas, say that estimates of the adult evangelical population have ranged from as small as 7% of the total adult population to as large as 47%. Right. Okay, so it did name their sources. That's good. So some sociologists say it's between 7 and 47%. The evangelical voting bloc, specifically, is about 15%, to my knowledge. But there are a lot of other churches that identify as evangelical. They're like black evangelical churches. Because evangelical is an old word that's been used for a really long time, and it's been kind of co-opted by this voting bloc. So anyway, to my knowledge, about 15% of the U.S. population. But they hold a disproportionate amount of power. I'm sorry, 15% of the adult population, not just 15% of the Republican Party. But as a result, they hold a disproportionate amount of power. They have been working, when I say they, I'm talking about Leo Leonard, Lance Wallnau, God, I don't know, Kenneth Copeland, and everybody associated with him. Franklin Graham, his son, yeah. Franklin Graham, Jerry Falwell Sr., and, all of the top televangelists who talk about, John Hagee's another, they talk about politics nonstop on their platforms. They have been working in the background silently to get people into positions of power for the past 30 or 40 years. Since the 70s, really. That's when Falwell Sr. started really leaning into it, the moral majority and all that other junk. So right now, what we're looking at in the U.S. is the result of decades of sitting silently and just sneaking people into the system without raising any suspicion. John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court right now, he is a Christian nationalist extremist. He wants prayer in schools. He wants publicly funded religious schools. He wants all the same stuff that the furthest right evangelical wants. But he hasn't acted on any of that since he was put in. Was it 2006 when he was put in, I think? Hasn't done anything. He's just sat there and waited. Now they have a majority on the Supreme Court. John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. I think those are the... and Gorsuch. That's 6. Because it's a 6-3 majority. And they can do anything now. The evangelicals on the Supreme Court, which is all of them, can take up any case and overturn anything. Now was their time to strike. They make up 15% of the country. They're striking now because they have positions of power. And people were watching. They were like, oh, holy shit, this is happening. This is happening right now. This is not good. Over the past 30 years, people have been saying, John Roberts is like a right-wing evangelical extremist. It's not good that he's getting into the Supreme Court, but he hadn't done anything. Nobody did anything. They were just sitting and waiting. So right now we're seeing the result of decades of work from televangelists and evangelical leaders. We're watching it unfold in front of us. The vast majority of the United States does not want chaplains in schools. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody, hang on. I don't remember there's a metric that I was reading about recently. It's not something that the general population wants. Chaplains in schools, 10 commandments in classrooms, mandated prayer, mandated Bible reading. Nobody wants that, except for evangelicals. And they're going to force their way in now. That's what's happening. We need to fight against it. We need to be aware of what they're doing and talk about it. Bring attention to this. And it's worked. We've all brought attention to this pretty adequately. Christianity itself is declining. I think it's like 68 or 70% of the U.S. is Christian now, down from 80-something. I don't know, it's been a while since I looked at the stats, and they're probably different now anyway by the time you see the video. But Christianity is falling, but people are getting more extreme, like a lot more extreme, and evangelicals have struck. So that's my position on it, if you're wondering. I don't think that they're going to win, like the evangelicals, Project 2025 and all of that. I don't think that that's going to succeed. They might get some of their stuff pushed through, but it's not going to be much. And I think that we'll be able to like turn it around, especially once Trump is gone, because he has not kind of crowned a successor to the throne yet. So all of that popularity that Donald Trump has will be gone by the end of the, in 4 years, it'll be gone. Unless he really pumps somebody up. And do you see Donald Trump pumping anybody up other than himself? I don't. The Republican Party's been torn in two. There's a pretty big group of people who voted Republican consistently and then voted Donald Trump and will never vote Republican again because they think Trump's been terribly mistreated by like Fox News and whoever else. Delusionally, obviously. And then there's another group of people who were Republican their whole lives and are absolutely disgusted by what Trump is doing. The Republican Party has torn itself in two. And the only way that they can possibly win right now is if Trump is the one going, because most people will say, well, okay, I guess I'll vote for him. But when a new person comes in, all those people are dropping out, all the others. So anyway, we can win this is the point. We can prevent this from going down the tubes. But the very next step is to vote Biden in again. It's the very next step. We have to take that, no matter what. Anyway, thank you for the voicemail, Ron. I appreciate that. And I hope you call in again. Again, like if you keep it under 45 seconds or a minute, I'm nearly guaranteed to hear your voicemail.
Hi, Owen. My name is Melissa. On YouTube, most likely you have seen me. You Brick, I Fix, or Melissa Hollabaugh for a while. Anyways, I was a heroin addict too, and I wanted to correct you that the other day you said if someone says that they're shooting up in between their toes, that's false. I'm sorry, but I had a buddy who really did shoot up in between his toes. And as disturbing as that was, he did it because he needed to make sure he didn't have any track marks. And he didn't have any more veins to pop. So anyways, I love your show. Love you. Keep up the good work. And have a good day, honey. Bye.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's interesting. When I was in the drug world, I knew the worst of the worst. Like, I had been around them. I wasn't friends with them, but I was in rooms with them, you know. My ex's grandmother and aunt, aged 50 and 75, were both heroin addicts and had both destroyed every vein in their body. If you hit a vein enough, it just collapses. Doesn't really matter though, because you have deeper veins that are down there in your arms and everywhere. So if you don't have any veins left that you can see, it's fine. Your blood's still going to pump and you'll be okay. But you won't be able to, use a syringe anymore like that. Not easily. At hospitals, they have a machine that they shine on you and they see all of the veins, the deep veins they can hit. But addicts don't have those machines. So I knew this 75-year-old woman who used to do it every single day, multiple times a day. And the aunt and the grandmother would literally spend 3 hours a day scheming, planning, coming up with some way to get money. They'd go to Walmart with like a baby car seat type of thing, and they'd have maybe a baby in there. There were people around who had babies. This is like a little community that they all lived in, all of the addicts that I knew. They'd put a baby in there, they'd push it in the shopping cart, and they'd grab the most expensive and smallest item they could find, which happens to be shower curtains. They would grab shower curtains, like, I don't know what they were, for like $40 or something at the time. They'd slip them under the baby carriage thing, and they'd just walk right out the front door. They would go to a Walmart that was 20 minutes away, and return them without a receipt. You get a gift card for that. You get a $150 gift card. You can trade that to somebody for half the cash. So a $150 gift card is worth $75 cash. They'd go buy heroin. This whole process takes them about 3 hours. They go back to their house, and then they spend another 3 hours trying to hit a vein. I was there and watched this whole process unfold every day of their lives, every single day. I knew them for years. 75-year-old woman sitting there while her daughter tries to hit a vein on her for hours. Her daughter died at, I think, 50 years old, maybe. I believe that she had maybe HIV. I don't know what she had. She had something that killed her eventually. I knew this one guy, Chris, who switched from using, from hitting his arms. He started hitting his jugular vein in his neck. That's the next step. You go from taking it orally to snorting it to using a needle to using the needle on your neck. That is insane. I remember Chris was in my car one time, and he wanted to do some heroin, and he didn't have any water. You need water to put in the spoon and heat it up, so on and so forth. So he steps out and gets water out of a puddle, puts it in the thing, and then does the whole thing out of a puddle. He used Gatorade. I'm sorry, not Mountain Dew. He used Mountain Dew one time. You'd be surprised what you can put in your body and not die. Holy shit. I knew people who did it in their neck. The grandmother, 75 years old, did it in her hands. She did it in her legs, in the back of her legs. She did it in her ribs. She did it everywhere, but not between her toes. I've never personally seen a vein in my toes. I'm sure that they're there, but they're deep veins. I've never seen somebody with surface veins between their toes. So anyway, maybe this guy had some and I just, didn't notice or whatever. But yeah, that's my history with it. That's what I've seen. It's crazy. I used oxy or morphine. Last time was 5 years ago. Suboxone got me off them. Me too. Same deal.